Hello, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've done any kind of Pilates inspired workouts, but I'm gonna start doing maybe one a week. I've kind of got back into the swing of triathlon training at the minute, even though I'm training for about 3 ultras and I've got no triathlons booked. But I'm definitely back on it with a swim, bike, run. I know I'm just as surprised as you are about the swim part. So yeah, I'm kind of trying to stay on top of my maintenance and strength, avoiding any injuries. So Pilates is great for that, especially as I'm not quite back in the gym yet. I haven't figured out that fitting into my schedule yet. So 10-15 minutes of Pilates 2 or 3 times a week is probably the most convenient thing for me right now. And hopefully you'll find it useful too. So let me know if you want slightly longer ones or a bit more frequently. If you enjoy them, if you're not a fan, let me know in the description. And yeah, we'll jump straight into it. Okay, so we are going to start with some hip flexor stretches and some downward dog. It's not traditionally a Pilates warm-up, but seeing as I tend to do 10 to 15 minutes of Pilates every other day, I think it's more beneficial for me with the cycling and running to just kind of get the target areas which are the tightest, rather than do a full like neck, shoulder roll, everything like that. So if you just come down onto one knee, you want to tilt your pelvis under and squeeze this glute muscle here. So you should feel the stretch running down here and perhaps a bit into your quad. If you don't have tight hip flexors, then you're probably not a cyclist or a runner. But just lean forward a bit into it and you should start to feel it. So really squeeze here and tilt the pelvis under until you feel it. And we just kind of want to hold this for about 30 to 60 seconds. This is really uncomfortable for me. If you want to get into it a bit more as well, you can lift your arm up and you just feel it run down there a bit more, a bit deeper. Remember to breathe, and if you can, just lean into it as the stretch goes on. Okay. I then come forward, holding onto my ankle, and with that elbow I just push that knee out to the side, so you're feeling it in this hip as well, but we're still getting that hip flexor stretch down there. So put this hand down to support and just gently push your knee out and hold it there. Again, remembering to breathe. And then I take it into a pigeon stretch. So you might just need to grab hold of your foot and shuffle it along. You can lay into this or you can stay sat up, but you should feel it in that glute, and again, we're getting that hip flexor. So this feels very uncomfortable for me. And just hold it for anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. Like I said, you can lay into it if you want to. It should hopefully start to ease a bit in your glute. Mine is screaming at me right now. And then just put your hands down, tuck that back toe under, and you're going to step it back up into downward dog. So hips nice and high, it doesn't matter if you've got bent legs, and just pedal it out. Deep breath there. And then drop to your knees. And then we're going to repeat the stretch on the other side. So other knee up, tilt the pelvis down, tilt the pelvis under, squeeze your glute, and just hold it there. Deep breaths. And like I said, if you want to rock forward into it a bit more, you can do just to deepen that stretch. Or put your arm up. I don't really need to do that because I'm tight enough. So really remember to squeeze this glute just to get into it a bit more. About another 10 seconds here. And then start to rock forward. Gently push your knee out with your elbow. You should feel it there and in your hip, depending on how tight your glutes are. And then into your pigeon pose. If you need a block or something under your bum here, just grab a block, or if you have got a yoga block handy. And then start to tuck your toe under and step that foot back into downward dog. Few foot pedals. And then start to walk your hands in, dropping your head and rubbing up. One vertebra at a time. Until we stood up, and then just give yourself a shake. So that's not a very long warm up, but like I said, I'm usually slightly constrained on my time, so maybe do a bit longer if you feel like you need it, but they're generally the areas that I just need the most. So then you're going to come to the back of your mat. You want your feet hip width apart and you want a nice flat back. So usually that means just tucking your pelvis under slightly and engaging your lower stomach muscles. Nice long neck, shoulders relaxed. Deep breath. So we're going to do another roll down. So the head drops first, the chin, and then you're going to roll down each vertebrae one at a time until you completely relax to the bottom. So you want to feel like all the tension's gone out of your neck. So feel free to just shake it around a bit if you need. So deep breath, make sure the stomach's engaged, drop the chin to the chest, and slowly start to roll down. Okay, just hang here, shake the head if you need to. You can loop the hands, the elbows. Okay, then you're going to take one hand, bring it up to the ceiling and rotate to that side. So we're just opening up the thoracic spine. Deep breath here. And drop it down. Over to the other side. Breathe out on the twist. And drop it down. Okay, we're going to slowly walk the hands forward until we're in a plank position. So make sure we're engaging the core muscles. You want your hands underneath your shoulders, neck in line with the spine, nice flat back, squeezing the stomach muscles, and we're just going to hold it here. Deep breaths. Problem with Pilates, and anytime anyone does a core exercise, they hold the breath and they don't realise they're doing it. So you might be sick of me saying, remember to breathe throughout this video, but you need it. And then just gently drop the knees and send your bum back to your heels. Walking your hands forward, just stretch out the back. Okay, we're coming back onto all fours here. So you want your hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips, and your knees hip width apart. If you've got a mirror to kind of see yourself, that's even better. And a nice flat back, so we don't want any arching or rounding of the spine. So just nice and neutral, pretty much like a tabletop. Okay, we're going to work our glutes here, so a really good pre-run, pre-cycle activation. The key thing is to keep these hip bones facing the mat and not let that back arch. So really think about squeezing the stomach muscles, keep everything nice and controlled. You're going to take opposite arm and leg and extend to a nice straight line. So you don't want it too high, we don't want this. Nice and controlled, deep breaths, and then bring it back in. We're going on to the other side. Nice and controlled. Don't let that back dip. Really squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the stomach muscles. And back in. Other side. Good, remember to breathe. Neck in line with the spine, not like I was doing. Okay, we've got one more each side. Good, last one. This looks like the easiest exercise, but done properly, it should actually be quite challenging. And bring it back in. If you want to send your bum back to your heels and just stretch out your back again, feel free while I just demonstrate the next one. So again, keeping the hip bones forward, we are going to take one leg up, bend, keeping the hips facing that mat, and you're just going to push a footprint on the ceiling. So you should feel like somebody is pushing against your foot. Really squeeze this glute muscle here, and we're going for 10 on each side. Deep breaths, squeeze the stomach muscles. Last 5. Breathe. And bring it back in. Okay, we're going to the other leg. Make sure that back's flat, hips facing the mat, and start to pulse. Deep breaths. Really squeeze the glute as you push the foot up. 2 more. And relax back in. Again, you can send your bum back to your heels if you need to. If not, we're going to step it back into a plank and then bring our knees back in. So I'll just demonstrate. So you want to tuck your toes under, lift your knees just a centimetre off the mat. Then we're going to slowly step the feet back one at a time and then back to that bent leg position. Trying to keep your bum and your back as flat as possible. So what we don't want is all this kind of movement. So nice and controlled. Bring it in. Bring the other knee to join it. Step it back out. Deep breaths. Good. Make sure we're breathing. One more. And drop the knees. Send your bum back to your heels. Walk the hands forwards. And then we're going to come onto our stomachs. So this is really good for our lower back, but also getting our abdominals to work to support our back, which is really important when running, but also really, really important when we're on the bike, especially if you're on a tri bike and your back has no support and you're bent over your bars like that. So this is a really good one for that. So you're going to, I'm actually out of breath. You're going to start laid on your stomach. You're going to be engaging your stomach muscles, engaging your glutes, and your hands are going to be beneath your face or either side of you. Either side is a bit of a progression, so you can start with the hands over your head for support and see how you go. We are basically keeping everything in a straight line, not using our neck, and we're just lifting our upper body off the mat and slowly lowering back down whilst keeping our feet and legs on the mat. So I'll just demonstrate because I can't really talk when I do this one, but we're going to do about 8 to 10 reps of this. So coming down onto your front, hands can be beneath your face, squeezing the glutes and stomach muscles. Start by just lifting the chest off and lowering back down. If you feel like that's more than achievable, you can take the hands with you. So we're breathing. And lowering back down, and if you want to go one further, you can take the hands by your side. So we're just coming up. Keep the neck nice and long. Okay, we're going to go for 3 more. Keep squeezing. and relax back down. Push up onto your hands and knees, and we're just going to take a cat-cow. So if you drop the head and round the spine one way, and then flex the other way. Raise the chest towards the wall, and just do a few of these until your back feels a bit more neutral again. And then we're going to spin round onto our bum. Okay, you want your legs out in front of you here, and we're sitting up nice and tall, so nice flat back. Just be aware if this feels hard, like if you feel like your hip flexors or your hamstrings are screaming at you just in this position, then it's perhaps time to do some more stretches there, because that's a sure way to pick up injuries on the bike or the run, but these places do get very tight. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to roll down each vertebra of the spine until we're eventually laid down. We kind of want to make it all one fluid movement, so not nice and controlled, and then slam down the rest. If you feel like you don't have the control to get it all the way down, just get to where you can control it. So even if you're only rolling down halfway, maybe to like here, if you know you can't maintain it all the way down, then just slowly bring it back up until we're sat up. And then you can just progress it as your core strength increases. So starting nice and tall, making sure we're breathing, we are rolling down the spine, one vertebra at a time, deep breaths, really squeeze these stomach muscles, make sure each vertebra hits the mat, and your head is the last thing to go down and the first thing to come up. So breathe out as we come up, roll the head first, squeeze, 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 and sitting up nice and tall. Okay, we're going to go for 4 more of these, so deep breaths. Breathe the whole way, don't hold your breath. Rolling down, one vertebra at a time. Breathe out to come up. Squeeze. Sitting up nice and tall, finish it nicely. Okay. Squeeze, breathe out as you come up. And then this last one, we're going to stay laid down, so take it even slower to come down. Loads of control, deep breaths. If you're not going down the whole way, try it for this one. Even if you lose control at the end, that's okay. Nice and slow. Don't hold your breath. And then just hug your knees to your chest at the bottom. And just rock from side to side, massaging your lower spine, and you get a bit of a glute stretch here as well. Okay. I did say this is only going to be a 15-minute one, and I'll hopefully be getting 1 out a week. So we're going to do one last core exercise, and then we are done. So this is the perfect lunchtime, 15 minutes, no excuses. So you want your feet up in this tabletop position, your back nice and flat against the mat, and your hands by your side, just resting off the mat. You're going to lift your neck and shoulders off the mat, chest up towards the ceiling. I'm going to pulse the hands. If you feel like that's too easy, then I want you to extend the legs. Just make sure the lower back doesn't come off the mat. So we're breathing, and if you want to make it more challenging, the lower to the floor it is. But clearly I've got no pause for today. So deep breaths. Don't worry if you start to shake. You can also put a hand behind your neck if you struggle with your neck. Okay, 5 seconds. And relax. Hug your knees to your chest and just rock from side to side. And then if you want to finish off with the kind of similar stretch routine that we did to start the session, then that's generally how I'd end it, because biking and running, basically the only thing that really gets tight is my hip flexors and my glutes. So that's kind of where I prioritise stretching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you did, if you tried it, And like I said, I'd hope to put out these maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks, so let me know what would kind of fit your schedule better, if you want more or less or longer. Yeah, please subscribe and I will see you on the next one.